The family that restored America's treasures is now completely scattered. One runs a small gift shop after his famous Las Vegas business collapsed. Another builds custom bicycles after failing in professional sports. The useless apprentice now owns 3 restoration trucks worth $450,000. Meanwhile, the quiet assembly expert lives off-grid in the mountains, teaching his son survival skills the modern world has forgotten. Here's the unbelievable story of what really happened. Rick Dale. Rick Dale used to be one of the biggest stars on the History Channel. Millions of people watched him every week on American Restoration, amazed by how he could bring old, broken things back to life. He didn't just fix things, he brought stories and memories back with them. But in 2015, everything changed. Without warning, Rick and his entire crew were kicked off the show. Fans were stunned. People flooded social media with confusion and anger, wondering why one of the most popular parts of the channel was suddenly gone. What most people didn't know was that things behind the scenes had already turned sour. In 2014, the producers of the show wanted to make it more dramatic. They didn't care about real restorations anymore. They wanted fake arguments, fake problems, and scripted scenes. Rick wasn't okay with that. He had spent years building his reputation on doing things the right way. When the producers tried to force fake drama into his shop, he pushed back hard. The conflict got so serious that Rick eventually walked away. Later, when he recorded a message for his fans, he was so emotional he could barely speak. His heart was clearly broken. Being on TV also took a serious toll on Rick's health. The filming schedule was brutal. He had to run a full-time business while also being on camera almost every day. The pressure was non-stop. And to make things worse, they rushed the restoration projects just to meet filming deadlines. That kind of work demands time and patience, and Rick hated seeing his craft being turned into quick, flashy content. It drained him, physically and mentally. After leaving the show, things didn't get easier. His famous shop, Rick's Restorations in Las Vegas, eventually shut down. It was a huge surprise. The place had become a tourist hotspot. Fans used to travel just to see the yard and take tours. But Rick didn't give up. Instead, he pivoted in a completely new direction. He started a business called My Best Font Forward Creations. It's a laser cutting and embroidery shop that makes custom designs, including holiday items and personalized gifts. It might sound far from his TV days, but it gave Rick a way to stay creative on his own terms. Years before all of this, Rick had already shown he was more than just a TV personality. In 2014, he released a book called Classic Soda Machines, which proved how deep his knowledge went in vintage machines. Ironically, when he was first offered a show, he almost turned it down. He didn't think his soda machine and gas pump restorations were big enough to carry a full series. He was wrong, but it also shows that Rick never chased fame. He chased quality. Then, in 2020, something unexpected happened. Rick appeared on Pawn Stars, another History Channel hit. After 7 years off the air, it was a surprise to see him back. Some fans started wondering if this meant American Restoration might return. But no new show has been announced yet. In his personal life, Rick's marriage to Kelly Mayer has stayed strong through it all. She played a big role in the business and has since built her own career in real estate. The two still make public appearances together, like at the SEMA car show in Las Vegas. They've been a team since the early 90s, and even had their engagement shown during Season 3 of the show. Their bond seems just as solid now as it was back then. Today, Rick Dale isn't chasing ratings. He's living a quieter life, still creating, still sharing his work online with loyal fans. His net worth sits around $2 million. but more importantly, he seems happy. Tyler Dale. When American Restoration first hit TV screens in 2010, most people saw Tyler Dale as just the teenage kid with the two-tone hair. Born on September 25, 1993 in Nevada, he was only 16 when filming began. At first, he was known mostly as Rick Dale's son, but there was much more going on behind the scenes than what made it to air. Tyler wasn't just learning how to restore vintage items. He was working insane hours, sometimes staying at the shop until 3 or 4 in the morning. It wasn't the easy ride people assumed. It was hard work, long nights, and non-stop pressure. While fans enjoyed the playful back and forth between father and son, things weren't always so light off camera. Tyler later admitted that his dad's standards were so high, it led to constant tension. Rick didn't care about playing to the cameras. To him, the shop wasn't a show, it was his life's work. That made things difficult for Tyler, who had to figure out how to balance being on TV with living up to his father's expectations. He appreciated the fame and success the show brought, but it came with emotional weight too. Over the years, Tyler worked on over 250 restoration projects. He wasn't just handing tools, he learned MIG and TIG welding, how to use water jets, plasma cutters, sandblasters, and even how to reverse engineer old machinery. He picked up woodworking, metal finishing, milling, lathing, you name it. Slowly, he stopped being just the kid in the shop. By the final season with the Dale family, Tyler had become the shop foreman, earning his place not because of his name, but because of his hands-on skill. Then, in 2016, everything changed. The network overhauled the show and replaced the entire cast. For a lot of people, that would have been the end. But Tyler didn't chase another reality gig. Instead, he went deeper into the craft, taking on custom metalwork at various shops in California and Las Vegas. Away from cameras, he started doing things at his own pace. He has been rebuilding his 1965 Ford F-100 truck. He got the truck right after high school and decided to restore it not for TV, but for himself. Unlike the quick turnarounds done for the show, Tyler has spent years on this one build. Every part, every detail, done slowly and carefully. He said many times that he wants it to last for 30 years, and he's building it like it needs to. It's not about speed, it's about doing it right. But his perfectionism sometimes slows him down. He's admitted that even when something looks great, he starts thinking about how it could be better. That mindset, though frustrating, is part of what makes his work special. He's not chasing approval, he's chasing mastery. Outside the shop, Tyler has stayed grounded. He's been in a relationship with actress Haley Aaron since 2012. There were some rumors floating around back when the show was popular, but he's always stayed quiet about personal drama. Before Haley, he dated Jennifer Domingo briefly, but his connection with Haley has lasted more than a decade. Despite his TV fame, Tyler's net worth is estimated to be about $500,000, a sign that he's not in it for the flash. He wants respect, not riches. Since 2021, he's mostly vanished from social media. His last few posts showed off the truck build, and then he went silent. Fans have wondered where he went, what he's up to, if he's still working on restorations. Brettley Otterman. When American Restoration first aired in 2010, Brettley Otterman quickly became the guy everyone laughed at. He was the young, clueless stepson of Rick Dale, usually stuck with the dirty jobs, sanding, scrubbing, and hauling junk. Even Rick's brother, Ron, joked that some tasks had to be made Brettley-proof. The show made him look like the weak link, someone there more for comic relief than for actual skill. No sanding, no warping, no rust, no dust. He's now married to Steph, and together they're raising 3 kids in Las Vegas. He's managed to juggle business with family life, something not many people from reality TV can say. And there's another side to him fans might not expect. He plays guitar and harmonica and has a deep love for music that's been with him for years. It's not just a hobby, it's part of who he is. Kelly Dale. Before Kelly Dale ever appeared on television, she was already a woman on a mission. She had been working as a licensed realtor since 2001, focused on marketing and business growth. But when she and her husband Rick Dale teamed up for American Restoration, that's when the world saw her in action. While Rick handled the hands-on restorations, Kelly was the one running the business behind the scenes. She wasn't just helping, it was her vision that turned Rick's restorations into something big. When the show first aired, people mostly saw Rick at work. What they didn't see was how Kelly took the shop from a small family business and turned it into a tourist magnet in downtown Las Vegas. Thanks to her marketing skills, the shop's social media pages exploded. They gained over 600,000 Facebook fans, more than 100,000 Twitter followers, and 52,000 Instagram followers in just 1 year. That kind of online buzz brought real results. Sometimes over 1,000 tourists showed up in a single day. They weren't just fans, they were paying customers eager to take a tour of the famous workshop. But things changed in 2016 when the network suddenly removed Rick and Kelly from the show. Fans were shocked. New faces took over, but they couldn't capture the same magic. The ratings dropped fast, and the show was canceled not long after. Officially, it was a production change. Unofficially, there were rumors of behind-the-scenes tension, but no one confirmed anything. Either way, Kelly didn't slow down. She jumped right back into the business world. With TV behind her, she put even more energy into real estate. She sold house after house in Las Vegas, and in 2024, she expanded into Kingman, Arizona. Her hustle didn't stop there. She started side ventures too, like a custom embroidery and sign business called My Best Font Forward Creations, and she helped veterans find homes by combining her real estate knowledge with her heart for service. Kelly's drive wasn't just about money. She used her fame to help others. In 2014, she joined the Tour de Cure for Diabetes, riding 65 miles and raising $20,000 in just 4 months. She became the top fundraiser in Las Vegas that year. And that wasn't a one-off thing. She supported groups like the American Red Cross, Helping Hands of Vegas Valley, the American Diabetes Association, and Veterans Village. She also served on the board of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department Museum and stays active in the Las Vegas Hospitality Association. Her personal life has been just as full. Both Kelly and Rick had children from earlier marriages, and they built a blended family while balancing the spotlight. After the show ended, she focused more on her home life, but she didn't disappear. Together with Rick, she continued to build new ventures and stay connected to the restoration world. She's even co-hosted car shows, like one in Nova Scotia, keeping their shared love for classic cars alive. Ron Dale. Ron Dale's life has taken more turns than anyone would have expected. He's best known as the easygoing brother from American Restoration. But long before TV, Ron was chasing a very different dream. Born in Boulder City, Nevada in 1970, Ron wasn't aiming for fame through tools or cameras. He was aiming for sports stardom. Back in high school, he wasn't just good at football. He was the best punter in the entire country. Big colleges like Miami, USC, Notre Dame, and Texas A&M wanted him. Even Jimmy Johnson, the legendary coach who would go on to win Super Bowls with the Dallas Cowboys, showed up at Ron's high school just to recruit him. That moment, Ron said, felt like a dream. He picked USC, mostly so his family could drive out to see him play. But there was a strange twist. His friends wanted USC to win, sure, but only if it meant the team had to punt, because that's when Ron got to take the field. After football, he didn't stop competing. He switched over to baseball and pitched for minor league teams tied to the San Diego Padres from 1992 to 1994. Then came the moment no athlete wants to face. He got cut. Just like that, the dream was over. He went back to Boulder City, heartbroken, unsure what was next. He ended up working at Budweiser for a while, keeping a low profile. But then, out of nowhere, his brother Rick brought him into something totally new: TV. It started with a short appearance on Pawn Stars. Then Ron joined American Restoration full-time. He wasn't just comic relief. He played the role of picker, hunting down rare parts and supplies to help Rick keep the restoration projects going. Viewers liked Ron because he didn't try to be flashy or serious. He was just himself, relaxed, funny, and loyal. When the show ended, Ron didn't try to stay in the spotlight. Instead, he followed a totally different path: custom bicycle building. It all started as a side hobby while working with his brother. He'd build little cup holders and experiment with cruiser bikes. Then it snowballed into something more. Now, from his workshop in Boulder City, Ron builds custom bikes he calls BC Bar Hoppers, each one inspired by a local bar in town. He sticks to beach cruisers because they remind him of Southern California. As he puts it, "If I can't be at the beach, I'm going to act like I'm at the beach." He's made about a dozen bikes so far, with 5 more in the works. He's even thinking about making tandems next. But here's the twist: he's not doing this for money. He works a regular job at Albertsons and builds bikes in his spare time. "They're not restored or pristine," he says. "They're just fun to look at and ride." His bikes have appeared in Boulder City's 4th of July parade and will be featured in the upcoming Spring Jamboree, but he still insists it's just a hobby. On the personal side, Ron recently got remarried and stays close to his 2 kids, Jordan and Hunter. He's 53 now, and instead of chasing fame or fortune, he's focused on joy. Looking back on everything, from college football to reality TV to beach cruisers, Ron says he's finally found peace. Great family leads to great love, which leads to a great life, he says. Cowboy. Cowboy was one of those TV personalities who felt real, even when everything around him looked like it was made for the cameras. Fans of American Restoration will remember him as the grumpy old man with unmatched skills in metal polishing and woodworking. He didn't talk much, didn't smile often, and never tried to impress anyone. But that's exactly why people liked him. He wasn't pretending. Whether he was teaching someone a better way to sandblast or grumbling about something in the shop, he was just Cowboy. Before the cameras ever showed up, Rick Dale had already known him for around 15 years. That long-standing bond is part of why Cowboy ended up on the show when it launched around 2010. But while other cast members leaned into fame, Cowboy stayed distant. He never joined social media. He rarely shared anything personal. Fans didn't even know his real name, Kevin Lowry, unless they dug around. His attitude sparked a lot of debate. Some people believed his grouchy behavior was all for the show, but others had run-ins with him in real life and said that, nope, he was exactly the same off-camera. One fan even complained their tour at Rick's Restorations was ruined because Cowboy refused to take a photo with them. That made some fans wonder, was this guy just plain rude, or was it all part of the act? Still, if he truly was a problem, why would Rick keep him around? The truth is, Cowboy knew what he was doing. In one episode, Tyler Dale struggled with a metal piece jamming during sandblasting, Without showing off, Cowboy simply told him to try walnut powder instead of sand. And it worked instantly. Those kinds of quiet, expert moments were what made him valuable. Behind the rough voice and annoyed look, there was a mentor who knew his craft. Then, in 2016, American Restoration got canceled. Fans were shocked. After 6 seasons, the show was suddenly gone, and none of the original crew returned when the History Channel brought the show back in 2018 with a new cast. Rick was just as stunned as the fans. Rumors swirled. Some said ratings were falling. Others said Rick wanted more money, and the network didn't agree. After that, Cowboy disappeared from the spotlight. His last known appearance was in early 2016 on Rick's Instagram. But even then, it seemed like he was still working at the shop. His name kept showing up on the marquee, and fans who visited in person said they still saw him around. He didn't care about being famous. He just wanted to work. In 2019, Rick's Facebook page posted a photo of Cowboy. He looked thinner, but still had that same quiet stare. Fans were happy to see him again, but the excitement faded quickly. Not long after, Rick shut down the restoration business for good. Kyle Astorga. Kyle Astorga wasn't just another worker in a restoration shop. He was the guy who made sure everything fit back together when no one else could. From 2010 to 2016, people watching American Restoration saw Kyle as the quiet expert. He wasn't loud or flashy, but his hands did the talking. Rick Dale trusted him with the toughest jobs, especially the final reassembly. If the parts didn't align, if something didn't work right, Kyle was the one who fixed it. He had a rare talent for seeing how machines came together, even when they looked like a pile of scrap. And fans loved the unexpected friendship between Kyle and the grumpy Cowboy. Every day, Kyle picked him up and drove him to work, no matter how grouchy Cowboy was. That said a lot about Kyle. But when the show's original run ended in 2016, Kyle didn't try to stay in the spotlight. He didn't open a shop or start a business like the others. Instead, he walked away from the cameras and headed straight into the wilderness. By 2017, he was deep in the Cimarron Valley of New Mexico, leading hunting trips across 45,000 acres of rugged land. That's not just a career change, it's a whole new life. Gone were the bright lights and buzz of Las Vegas. Now it was snow, steep canyons, and survival. What most people didn't know was that this side of Kyle had always been there. Long before TV, he'd spent years in rodeos, riding broncos and wrestling bulls. That's where he built the toughness and grit he'd need for the wild. In northern New Mexico, the winters dump almost 4 feet of snow a year. The land is rough, the weather is mean, but Kyle knew how to live with it, not fight against it. What really makes Kyle's story special is how he's passing it all on to his son. His boy Ben was only about 10 when they started venturing into the mountains together. Kyle isn't just teaching him how to track game or build shelter. He's teaching him how to live off the land. For Kyle, this isn't just a job. It's about keeping the old ways alive, what he calls the mountain man tradition. In a world full of apps and automation, Kyle is one of the few still teaching real survival. Unlike many reality stars who chase social media fame after the cameras stop rolling, Kyle did the opposite. He disappeared. No flashy Instagram, no interviews. It's like he never cared about being known in the first place. His time on American Restoration seemed more like a detour than a destination. What he has now, a quiet, rugged life in the wild, is what he always wanted. Ted Haig. Ted Haig's story is different, but just as compelling. He wasn't part of the regular team, but whenever the job called for paintwork that had to be perfect, Ted was the guy they brought in. One time, he turned an old Montgomery Ward fridge into a sleek wine cooler, matching the paint so perfectly it looked like a factory finish. Another time, he made plastic look like real wood. That kind of work takes more than talent. It takes obsession. Long before the show, Ted had already made a name for himself in Las Vegas with his business, Letter Perfect Incorporated. He'd started out in the 80s, learning from old masters of hand lettering, the kind of painters who were about to retire and take their secrets with them. Ted soaked up every trick they had. By 2014, he had so much work that he opened another shop in Phoenix. Then,